What's happening YouTube? Today's video is going to be on 3 different things. First one, selling old camera gear to buy other camera gear. The second part is me going to be talking about my initial feelings on the Fuji X-T2 and how I found it to be for street photography. And the third thing I'm going to talk about is why I think that no matter what camera you buy, in one way or another, you're going to buy the wrong camera. So I guess you could say like it's more of a brain dump of my thoughts and experiences on selling old gear to buy new camera gear, or something like that. I don't know. Hey monster. There it is. I'm making a video. Yeah. Alright, I've been coveting Fuji gear for quite a while now, and I even made a video a little while ago about how I bought the X100s because I wanted that to be my little like walk around point and shoot street camera. I ended up not really using that as much as I thought I would, so I sold that recently along with my 5D Mark II camera body, because that doesn't get used anymore. Thought I would try out the Fuji X-T2 and start off with just the 18 to 55mm kit lens, because I bought the 24-70 for the Canon, which is what I'm filming this on right now, and I don't really love that lens that much. I used it for a couple travel things, and then I went to Grand Tetons in Yellowstone National Park, and I didn't even bring that lens. I brought a 35mm and 70-200, and I brought my 85, but I didn't use the 85. My most expensive lens gets used for YouTube videos and stock photos and random stuff when I just want to carry one lens, but never for my favourite photos. X-T2, Fuji has all the manual controls that I like compared to the X100s. I had to like press a button and do something else to change the ISO, and I didn't really like that. I wished it had like a rolling button at the front and on the back, whereas the back rolling button would only adjust things so much. Anyways, I couldn't get used to it. I didn't really love it. Maybe I'm a product of modern photography where things are just like faster and easier, but I'm rambling a little bit. I'm gonna try the X-T2. I bought this used off eBay, by the way, so I hope this is in as good a condition as they said it was online. First impression is it's smaller than, I mean I knew it was small, but it's kind of smaller than I really expected it to be. What's this? A little gap in the bottom here. Does this have a plug that's missing? I assume this is the lens. It's pretty small. Oh, it zooms the other way from Canon. Wow, that is small. Feels pretty nice in your hand as well. That is tiny. I need to compare this to DSLR. Alright, here, this is a 5D Mark III. I'm filming on the Mark IV just now. The 100 macro is about the same length as the 24-70. That's a pretty big difference. It's a good bit lighter. Still feels like a sturdy little camera though. Jeez. Alright, the point of this selling slash unboxing slash whatever it is video, I feel like people online are arguing all the time about what camera's the best, what camera's the right one, why other ones suck, and that's fine. You don't have to like all the cameras. But I think that it doesn't matter which camera you buy, it's the wrong camera. You just have to get the one that gets the closest to what you want it to do. Spending more money doesn't necessarily fix that problem. The way I went about it is I've made a list basically of what I want cameras to do. So I shoot weddings for money. I travel and shoot photography when I go traveling. I like to try and shoot streets. It's the area of photography that I'm trying to learn more about. I'm also trying to shoot stock photography. So I've been trying to find what camera or what camera setup will have the best balance of all those things. Generally, the Canon cameras do everything that I want them to do apart from a few smaller things. So I bought the 5D Mark IV, which this is filming on. It has great autofocus, but before that I started off with a Canon T5i. I could make YouTube videos with it and I could take photographs with it, and that was great. Then when I started to shoot weddings, I wanted something full frame. The T5i didn't really cut it in low light, so I bought a 5D Mark II because it was a cheap full frame camera. It was not great in low light either, but it was better than my T5. After a little while I was like, okay, I need a second camera. I bought a 5D Mark III because I knew it was an upgrade from the Mark II, so I could have both bodies. Then I realized that the 5D Mark III, and I sold my T5i, and then I realized my 5D Mark III doesn't do continuous video autofocus, so it was hard to make vlogs or YouTube videos. I had to set the focus first and then film the video, and then I couldn't move very far. I still wanted to make YouTube videos, but I didn't want to buy an extra camera to have lying around, so I bought a 5D Mark IV. I did think about the 6D Mark II, but it was getting a hard time for people who would be shooting weddings. I think it only had one card slot, which was what kind of sealed the deal for me. I can't shoot a wedding anymore with one card. It freaks me out, and after I had a card failing me. 5D Mark IV did almost everything except from have the flip out screen. Then I bought the 24-70 because I was like, oh, that lens will do me for loads of traveling stuff. I'll be able to leave a bunch of lenses at home. Ended up not doing that because I don't, for whatever reason, I don't like most of the focal length. I wanted like an 85, I wanted something longer than 70mm. And the package that the 5D Mark IV gives you, even with a smaller like 85mm 1.8 lens in it, it's still like a big ass camera, and it's hard to carry around just like for everyday shooting. So like you take it with purpose, like it's so big you can't just, you're not just casually walking around with this huge camera. So then I started looking at the Fuji stuff. I bought the X100s, which was great. It would fit in my pocket, but I wanted a focal length longer than 35 for street. I'm really kind of like a fan of that longer street photography stuff. I like Saul Leiter's work. I would like to shoot more like that, so I want something with longer focal length that is still small. This goes up to 55 on a crop sensor, so that's more like 82.5. If the video autofocus is decent enough, I might be able to shoot videos on it instead of shooting it on that, and that will allow me to sell that super expensive lens. But this camera is still not going to have the flippy out screen, so this is still the wrong camera for everything that I want it to do, and it's really hard to find a camera that does absolutely everything and still be within your price bracket. The X-T2 seems like a fantastic freaking camera, but you can pick this up second hand for 700 bucks. I don't know if the X-T2 is currently 700 bucks better than the X-T2 for what I want it to do at least. It's definitely better in a lot of ways, but I don't know if I'm willing to spend 700 bucks more to get those things. The touchscreen would be nice. I may have to stop this video and write down the things that I need to say, because just now I'm just talking about why I think you're always going to buy the wrong camera. And I don't know what points I've touched on anymore. It's the idea, the plan. If this camera is as good to use, as nice to use as people have said it is, if the image quality is good enough for weddings, which it should be because I've seen a couple of photographers using these cameras for weddings, then I could switch out to this camera for weddings. I will have to get prime lenses or a longer, faster zoom, because this is not super fast. I could probably shoot street, well, I could definitely shoot street with this. I'm gonna try shooting street with this little lens. I can shoot stock with this little lens, and I can probably go traveling with this as well. Did I say this? One of the big things was the size. I don't want to carry around, I did say that. And that's why I didn't choose Sony. I was looking at Sony stuff, and I know you can get the A7 III. It's an awesome camera, but the lenses are big and the lenses are still super expensive. And I'm on a budget, so Fuji is still drawing me to them with their smaller size. I think I should stop going on about this now and go and have a play around with this camera and see how I like it. First outing with the Fuji X-T2 doing street photography, and I am by no means a street photographer. I consider myself very much a novice at that genre of photography, and I'm trying to get better at it. But for my first outing with this camera, I really like the camera. I'll definitely need to develop a bit of muscle memory because the buttons and the controls are in different places. The size of the camera made a much bigger difference than I actually expected it to. Either that or it's more psychological, but I felt like people noticed me less. I felt like they were less aware of me being close to them with the camera or being there with the camera, and that might just be psychological, and maybe I just usually am more self-conscious holding a big DSLR camera. Either way, whatever works, right? Alright, I'm going to show you like I held up 3 fingers. I'm going to show you like 4 of my favourite pictures that I got here. Not necessarily pictures that I love or think are worthy of being called good street photos, but I feel like I did better than my other street photo outings on this. So me having came away with more than 1 photo that I actually quite like is already a pretty good sign for me. Alright, anyways, here is the first photo that I took. So I was looking through this like little entrance vestibule to a restaurant. There was reflections down the street and there was a guy walking up towards me, and I just snapped this picture as quick as I could. The autofocus hit further behind the person, which is fine, and as a result what we ended up with was, I'm looking at the screen down here so I apologise if I look away, but a reflection of the street behind me and then the camera looking down the street through that little entrance area and beyond there. So there's this kind of like collage feel. It's kind of like a lot of stuff happening, but I just kind of like the picture. A little bit further up the street I walked past this market. Its doors had these like plastic curtains that you see in a lot of like food production places, and I didn't expect to see that on the street, but there's people coming and going from it. And I shot a photo of this lady walking in with, I don't know, the way the light is like softened on just her hand, kind of like a gesture of her moving into the shot. Just thought it was kind of cool. There's definitely more and better pictures to be had at this location, so it's somewhere that I think I'm going to go back to. The photo I got later on, just before I got the train back up, I went up into the first story of a parking garage, and I was leaning over the wall and there was people on bikes, and I took like a slower shutter speed, slowed the shutter down to like 1/10, whatever that is, of a tenth of a second, and I was just tracking this guy on this bike, and it was surprisingly easy to do from that distance, but I still got a really good motion blur because I was able to get it down to 1/10 of a second. And it's a nice, he's wearing all black, so he's kind of like a shadowy silhouette on this lighter grey background, and then there's that pop of colour from the roadworks, or the start of the roadworks, just sort of creeping into the frame there. And one of the very last pictures I took, I was on the way out of this parking garage, and I came down and I saw these letters on the window, and again made me think of saw lighters kind of work, so I'm focusing on the letters and trying to make kind of an abstract of the street behind it. And this person walked past with a red hat and a red hoodie, and it just gave a little pop of colour to an otherwise kind of blandly coloured scene. There's even a little bit of red in the building in the background, and possibly someone with red sleeves on their jacket across the street on the right hand side of the frame there. And I thought it was kind of cool. I quite liked it. I think maybe if there was rain on the window or mist or fog or something else to like add that extra layer of abstraction, it would be a much cooler photo. But for what I've normally been able to produce on the street, I was really quite happy with this photo. Alright, so I think that is it for this video. I hope in some way it was helpful, whether you like the street photo, just seeing the street photos part of it, whether you were interested in hearing about why you're probably going to get the wrong camera and not to worry too much about it anyways, or you know, otherwise thanks for watching anyways. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!